On a Tuesday at 6:12 a.m., a 43-year-old school bus driver waits for the dizziness to pass. His skin itches. His phone is charged beside the bed. He cannot go farther than 30 minutes from home because a donor call could come before lunch. That is the anomaly. Modern transplant medicine can replace organs, but it still cannot make enough of them. In 2024, the world did a record 173,727 solid organ transplants. In the US alone, more than 103,000 people were still waiting. The shortage is not a logistics problem anymore. It is a manufacturing problem. We can print living tissue. We still cannot keep a full-sized replacement organ alive, perfused, and accepted. That is why the race has split into 4 paths: bioprinting, stem cells, artificial organs, and xenotransplantation. And AI is now inside the design loop, not as branding, but as an optimizer of vessels, scaffolds, and immune risk. The question is simple to state and hard to solve. What makes a replacement organ stay alive inside blood, not just look correct in a dish? Because an organ is not a shape. It is oxygen delivery, waste removal, structure, signaling, and immune compatibility, all happening at once. A kidney, liver, or heart fails when cells lose their supply chain. Oxygen has to reach deep tissue. Waste has to leave. Blood vessels have to connect. The organ has to obey chemical signals, mechanical forces, and the immune system's threat detection. Machines can replace one function. Dialysis can filter blood. Ventilators can move air. But those are bridges, not organs. A real replacement must rebuild the vessel network that keeps cells from starving at the center. That is why 3D bioprinting uses living cells plus biomaterials, layer by layer, and why recent multi-material printers can work at about 20 micrometers while keeping more than 90% of cells alive after printing. But here's the part that changes everything. At Stanford and other labs, AI is being used to design vascular paths, predict immune reactions, and choose print geometry, combined with organ-on-chip validation. That has cut development time by about 40%. In preclinical models, AI-designed vascularized liver tissue reached 95% cell viability and about 3 times the function of manual designs. That matters because the difference between printed and working is perfusion. Without flow, cells die in the middle. With flow, tissue can mature. Stem cells push this further. In 2023, adult skin cells were reprogrammed into functional cardiomyocytes, letting researchers model patient-specific heart disease instead of guessing at it. Mesenchymal stem cells are also drawing heavy investment, with a projected 12.8% annual growth through 2030. The engineering logic is clear. If you can make patient-matched building blocks, you can reduce rejection later. But the engineers discovered a constraint that almost stopped the entire program. Building tissue is easier than building a tissue that survives years of blood pressure, immune attack, and microscopic damage. That is where xenotransplantation enters. A pig organ can be genetically edited to remove major rejection triggers and add human-compatible traits. In 2025, a gene-edited pig kidney functioned in a human for 271 days before removal. That sounds impossible until you realize what it means. The least human solution in the race may already outlast some lab-grown alternatives. But one remarkable case is not a medical system. Xenotransplantation still faces chronic rejection, clotting, and the risk of zoonotic transmission, including PERV concerns. Bioprinted organs still have to scale from small vascularized patches to full human anatomy. Bridge devices can keep people alive, but they do not end dependence on expensive infrastructure. This is why record survival is not the same as routine care. The field is not blocked by imagination. It is blocked by integration. And who gets the first working version matters. Patients near elite transplant centers with strong insurance and trial access will see these options first. Everyone else may wait longer, travel farther, or never qualify. If the science works, but the manufacturing is rare and expensive, the gap in survival can widen before it shrinks. So the real answer is not one technology. It is a stack. Reprogrammed cells for patient-specific repair, AI for vessel design and immune prediction, bioprinting for structure, and xenotransplantation for immediate scale. That is enough to build bridges, partial tissues, and early transplantable organs. It is not yet enough to promise every patient a durable replacement on demand. Over the next 5 to 15 years, the most plausible progress is not a warehouse of perfect organs. It is selected transplantable modules, smarter bridge devices, and tissue patches that buy time or restore one failing function. The market is already moving that way. Regenerative medicine is projected to reach $40.6 billion by 2027. The engineering target is brutally specific: vascularized tissue that stays safe, accepted, and functional long enough to matter. For the bus driver at 6:12 a.m., the future may not be a miracle organ falling from the sky. It may be a decision tree. Keep waiting, accept a bridge device, enter a stem cell trial, or qualify for a gene-edited organ. What combination of vascular engineering, immune control, and manufacturing standardization will make that last option routine? I want to know what year you think that becomes standard care. The constraint is real. The data exists. Whether the systems built around it can act on it at scale, that is the next engineering problem. Stay with CivilizationX.